Back on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm your host. Hey, this question is next here. If you want to email us, ask Pete at PeteThePlanner.com. Ask Pete at PeteThePlanner.com. This is my favorite type of question. Should I stay or should I go? Do you like what I did there, Nicole?
I did. I got what you put down
Should
there.
I stay or should I go?
Haha.
You know what song I heard this morning working out? What was it? All the Small Things. All the small things. Well, who sings that? It was like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
90s or
Oh.
not. Blink 182.
Hold on, I'm Googling.
Who sings All the Small Things?
Dang it, it's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day now.
know.
Blink-182, you got it.
Oh
Ding,
my
ding, ding,
gosh.
ding, 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 ding,
I know
ding.
not. Okay, here we go. Dear Pete, my wife and I are trying to decide if we should downsize our mortgage. I'm 47. My wife is 42. Good on you, sir. We earn 185,000 American dollars annually. We have $900,000 in 401ks and about $200,000 in equity in a home that is worth $750,000. We are only about 2 years into the mortgage. We have no debt other than our mortgage, which is $4,100 per month with insurance, and it's escrowed. We have, Nicole, were you reacting to that payment?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
But they're also making 185.
Right,
They got
yeah.
900. Anyway,
They're
we have currently stopped investing into our retirement in order to save 3 months on the emergency fund, at which point we will restart investing $2,300 per month in our 401ks. I would like to have the house paid for before our first child begins college in 8 years. However, paying enough extra per month to make that payment or make that happen seems impossible. Should we downsize our mortgage? Man, there is everything in this one.
A little bit.
See, here's what happens, Nicole. Sometimes before the show, I'll just read the subject line or I'll sort of give it a light browsing.
A light browsing.
I had I had no context of what was happening other than I knew it was a should we sell our home conversation.
You were just perusing.
Everything is here.
all
I
you
love
ever
this
wanted.
question. Robert, first of all, we are going to email you this answer. You're here. You're listening to me tell you that I'm emailing you right now. It's weird for you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Wow, where to begin? Okay, so let's just start in some weird places. I don't know where these people live. I have no way of knowing.
I kind of like it, though.
47 and 42 to have a net worth of at least $1.1 million. That's pretty solid,
That is pretty solid.
right?
Right.
Okay, so that's good. And so here's what I also know. Let's say he works another 20 years.
Right.
I'm just making that up.
Give or take.
Then I can say with great confidence he will retire with at least $4.4 million.
That's, yeah. Yeah.
Because I believe the 1.1 in 10 years, within 10 years, even with no other contributions, by the way, would turn to 2.2, and then 2.2 turns to 4.4 another 10 years later. So if he didn't contribute another dime, he would have 4.4 million at retirement. But since he's been putting in $2,300 a month, like he will have $8 to $10 million at retirement.
Right. Thank you to our friend Compounding.
Yes, exactly, Mr.
Right?
Compounding,
Mr.
or
Compounding.
Ms.
Ms. Right. You never know.
So first of all, I think what's interesting, they do not have a long-term financial problem.
Right.
Okay. Do they have a short-term financial problem? I mean,
Kinda.
this is an interesting one. I mean, this is one of those situations that people kind of find themselves in, and maybe there's a reason why they are how they are, or maybe there isn't. But this is a couple that has nearly $1 million saved for retirement. They have $200,000 of equity in their home, have $185,000 a year of income, and doesn't have an emergency fund. Like, there's no immediate need for the
No.
emergency fund, Nicole, other than the need to have the emergency fund.
Right. Especially because it sounds like they're pretty savvy when it comes to money. With everything else, in perspective, they're pretty savvy. So it's interesting that they don't have an emergency fund.
Now, again, that's why I go there either there's a good reason or no reason at all. The good reason could be they just had an emergency.
Right.
Or
And they're building that back up.
Yeah. Like they could have been forced to spend it on something. And I'm trying to think here what that emergency fund can conceivably be. I would think doing math on the fly. I bet their take home is roughly $10,000 a month. I mean, they would need to be somewhere between around $30,000, I think, in their emergency fund, which again, maybe they, from what they've just, it seems like they've told us, maybe they had 22 to 23 and they're trying to get to 30, which
Right.
seems more reasonable.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not like stopping investing for 3 months of $2,300 is going to take you from 0 to 30. I
Right.
think they're going from like 25 to 30.
More reasonable.
That's my guess. Anyway,
I like that guess.
so do they have a short-term problem? If you put it in that light, no, but the short-term could be better, but they're fixing it.
But they're fixing it.
And that's what I like about financial priorities and financial strategy. That's why I love this, because they do not have a long-term problem. And they have a slight short-term issue that they're about to put to bed forever.
Right.
But now we come to the midterm.
Here we are.
And this is where it gets a little weird, right? Because as a parent of a 9 and 6-year-old, my midterm terrifying moment is when they also go to college. And my strategy is also to have my home paid off before they get there, despite the fact that we're aggressively saving. So I'm gonna pepper this with a few different pieces of perspective. Number one, if they are saving for college on a regular, Robert, I'm talking to you. Who's that? Robert, if you were saving money, you and your lady friend, who is your wife, saving money on a regular basis for college, and you want to have your house paid off, then that's like a great strategy that has redundancy in it, right? You will have funded it, and you will have the cash flow in case you hadn't funded it. That's the way Mrs. Planner and I are doing it, right? If you're not funding it and the strategy is to cash flow college because you won't have a house payment, then you've got to do something now, right? And that something doesn't necessarily have to be to downsize your mortgage. That something could be save more aggressively for college now. I don't think with $550,000 left on the mortgage, even if they're paying $400 or $4,000 a month, Nicole,
That's a lot of money.
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Here's the really good news. If you want to think about being singularly focused in your financial life, what do you have to do in order to earn the right to be singularly focused? You have to take care of the other main areas of your life.
Right.
Retirement is put to bed, Robert. It is put to bed. Your short term is about to be put to bed. So you have the luxury now of focusing all of your efforts towards the midterm. And so you can either downsize your home by a couple $100,000. You go from a $750 to a $550, depending on where you live. That's either a big deal or it's not.
Right.
If you live somewhere around here, it's not that big of a deal. If you live in DC, well,
Different story.
tell the roaches hello for me, right?
Hello.
This is a tricky one.
For once, I kind of wish we knew where they were.
I do too.
Just
I feel like it
so-
would help me because I need some context as to
Right.
what's. Because I think the downsizing would be about a $200,000 reduction because that extra $200,000 they would attempt to pay down. And by the way, interest rates matter here too. Did he say how long they've been in the house? Oh, 2 years into the mortgage. So they got probably a decent interest rate when they did this. And by the way, Robert, you no longer would get a decent interest rate. That's a big factor in this. Like if you downsized and got into a smaller home, now you're paying a lot more interest, even though it's a smaller loan. And so your payment could be higher than you think it should be.
What did we say their take-home payment was?
I'd guess it's probably 10 grand.
So if it's
But that
10
doesn't mean their
grand-
expenses are 10 grand. I mean, their
Right.
expenses could be 9 grand or 8,500 for that matter.
Part of me is just curious too for that, just of how much of their budget they're using a month
I
on
th-
this mortgage.
I think the better option. Oh, I'm so torn. I think the better option is to aggressively fund college.
Yeah.
I think that's the better choice as opposed to moving. And I think it's because of interest rate. Mm-hmm. He's a young guy. Let's see, 47. Did you say how old his kids are? Oh, 8 years is what he needs to do. 8 years. So he'd be 55, and then he'd have another 10 years for retirement.
That
I don't know. Look, I have to say this too. If some people, when faced with the idea that they need to pay off their mortgage, some people care, some people don't. Some people say, I'm comfortable moving, others do not. Well, I've run out of time, so now I need to give them an answer. The answer, Robert, I would focus more on college. I would pay more aggressively towards college. I don't think you should move. I feel like it'd be an interest rate mistake. Oh, I'm so nervous. All right, coming up after the break, we're going to talk more, another college issue, adult helping an adult. It's a little different. That's all next on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner.